It's your boy Jimmy Blue, Mr. All Access Elite Boxing, reporting live from Dallas, Texas. I want to thank each and every one of our listeners today. Make sure to follow us on All Access Elite Boxing on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're getting your notifications. Also follow us on All Access Elite Boxing on Facebook. All Access Elite Boxing on Instagram. And if you're on Twitter, make sure to follow us. Tweet us at All Access Elite. This video is being powered by Express Bail Bonds, straight out of Dallas, Texas. If you're in need of a bail bondsman, if you guys get pulled over, have warrants, need tickets uplifted, and go to jail, or if you have a loved one that goes to jail, make sure to give these guys a call. They have the lowest, cheapest rates and are willing to work with a payment plan. 214-760-1644. Again, that's 214-760-1644. Express Bail Bonds. All right, fight fans, let's talk some boxing. Gennady Golovkin, live from the Madison Square Garden on the Zone, faced Sergey Derevyanchenko, who was 14 and 1 with 10 knockouts. Had only lost to Daniel Jacobs. Both guys are from the Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Russia area, and man, this fight did not disappoint. It was a beautiful night, man. Great Saturday night, great action. Tons of boxing fans in the forums talking, and you know, we wanted to see what type of Gennady Golovkin was going to show out. I know he recently hired his new trainer, Jonathan Banks. I know he's recently worked with the Klitschko brothers in the past. One of the you know, he was always under the tutelage of Emmanuel Stewart, if I'm not mistaken, from the Kronk Gym. Gennady started off well, man. He started off the first round getting a knockdown, landing a beautiful uppercut, followed by a left hook to the head, and came back up top and hit Derevyanchenko on the top of the head behind the ear, which Derevyanchenko was dropped in the first round. Derevyanchenko mentioned that he wasn't hurt. Gennady Golovkin tried to pounce on him, man, but he was able to successfully get out of the first round. In the second round, Triple G landed a beautiful two-punch left hook up top, man, that ended up splitting the eye of Derevyanchenko, and I think that's really when the tide turned. Derevyanchenko is a lot younger. He's a lot faster, throws a lot more combination, and this guy kept coming forward. Now, the problem with Golovkin is, you know, he's 37 years old, okay? He went almost a year of inactivity before he fought the Rose guy 2 months ago. And one of the problems is that in order to get Gennady Golovkin out of his fight, you have to be able to, number one, go to the body, and number two, you have to be able to back him up. Gennady Golovkin is not a fighter that fights well backing up. He's a lot slower. And he's one of the best fighters in the game that knows how to cut off the ring, especially when he's coming forward and throwing his bombs. Derevyanchenko had a beautiful game plan, man. He would fight Golovkin in the middle of the ring. He was sticking his jab. You know, he would throw a 3-4 punch jab combination to Golovkin to throw him off rhythm. You know, once they were in the center of the ring, man, he was timing Golovkin with some really nice placed body shots, which even hurt Golovkin in the 5th round. I don't believe I've ever seen Golovkin that hurt ever before in a fight. And it's starting to become a trend with Gennady. I don't know, man. I know that he's up there in age. He trains in Big Bear in high elevation, even when he was with Abel Sanchez. But it seems as if in his last, I would say 4 or 5 fights, man, he's been getting more and more winded in the beginning, in the early stages of the fight. And a lot of times that hurts him because everybody knows that Golovkin has one of the strongest jabs in boxing. But when he's not effectively throwing his jab, or when he's not landing any punches, becoming the aggressor and throwing more punches, you know, he gets in a lot of trouble because a lot of the guys begin to start teeing off on him. And to me, I don't know if Golovkin does it to, you know, as, you know, for recovery time, if he's trying to regroup to fire something back, or if he's trying to tire out his opponent. It's just, he's getting up there in age, man, and he's beginning to start, you know, tiring out, and he's getting exposed. I don't know how much of it had to do with his camp, with his training. The commentators claimed before the fight happened that, hey, you know what, Golovkin was facing an illness. I think he got caught the flu. I mean, it always seems to be something with him, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he has that drive, that hunger. Golovkin is so focused on fighting a trilogy with Canelo that he's not focusing to the opponents that he has in front of him. I mean, there's a lot of hungry young fighters out there. You got Derevchenko, you got Daniel Jacobs, you have the Charlo brothers. I can guarantee you, if one of the Charlo brothers was fighting Golovkin, and if Golovkin fought the way that he did, I mean, he won't win. He would not win that fight. Golovkin needs to go back to being Gennady Golovkin. Go back to, hitting the jab, walking his guys down, and then he needs to he just needs to have that eye of the tiger again, man. It's something that's missing. Honestly, I didn't like the advice that he was being given in the corner. I thought his corner from a fight plan standpoint, a game plan standpoint, I don't think they had any game plan. I mean, I think that they went in there thinking that Golovkin was going to be able to knock him out and stop him in the early rounds, and obviously that wasn't the case. To me, it didn't seem as if his fight corner, including Golovkin, had. I don't feel like they were able to make any sort of adjustments throughout the fight. We obviously saw when Derevchenko was cut in the second round, the commission claimed that it was due to a headbutt, but clearly there was no headbutt involved, as the replay showed that it was caused by a punch. And I think at that point in time, man, again, I say that the tide started turning because Derevchenko came out with a willingness to bang. He came out more eager with a sense of urgency, throwing punches. I mean, this guy was he stayed so committed to the body, man, and that's what broke Gennady Golovkin down. We saw even throughout several rounds, Gennady Golovkin would take big deep breaths. He would even start walking back, start getting clipped, and one of the things that I noticed that he did that I don't really recall any other fighter doing is when he was in the middle of the ring, when Derevchenko was in the middle of the ring with Gennady Golovkin, he would throw a punch combination, he would step out, give a different angle, land another body shot, uppercut, or whatever the case may be. I think Gennady Golovkin's best punch this particular fight was his uppercut. He landed his uppercut at will, as well as his left hook. And when he would throw his jab, he was effective. He was effective when he would throw his jab, but he just had to conserve a lot of his energy. I don't know, man. I was thinking to myself, if Gennady Golovkin were to leave Banks, who would he go with? I mean, realistically, who would he go with? Who can bring that Gennady Golovkin style out of him? Is it a Virgil Hunter? Is it a Joel Diaz? I think for starters, before anything, I think he needs to hire a strength and conditioning coach, man. A lot of people saw this fight. The judges had it 114, 113, and 115, 112. There's a huge uproar that Derevchenko won this fight and that Gennady Golovkin was given a gift. It was a close fight, man. I mean, I know last time that there was a fight there at the Madison Square Garden, it was with Andy Reese and Joshua. Huge upset. And, a lot of fans who watched this fight were screaming a robbery. So I don't know what's next for Golovkin, man. Obviously I don't think he's in any condition or any shape right now to fight Canelo. I think if he would have fought Canelo, he would have lost this fight. Now, granted, I am one of the only people that thinks that, well, I'm not going to say I'm one of the only ones, but I actually felt that Gennady Golovkin beat Canelo in both fights. But this one, man, it was very close, which could have gone either way. I had Golovkin winning 114, 113. I think the knockdown was the difference in my eyes. But it's just, he doesn't have to fight down to the level of his opposition, man. He needs to be able to go back to what made him who he is. And, sometimes when you have a different ear in the corner, a different a voice in the corner, rather, even he said it himself. He needed to be more focused throughout camp. Well, if you need to be more focused, what is it exactly that you're focusing on? I mean, you knew Derevchenko was a hell of a puncher. He was a big puncher. He even rocked Daniel Jacobs. Guy has, only he had only 13 fights at the time when he fought Jacobs, but he had already had 10 knockouts. We already know those Russian guys come to bang, and this guy was beating the shit out of Golovkin to the body. I mean, Golovkin's gonna wake up with some sore ribs. He's probably gonna be pissing blood, and it's one of those things, man. Once he gets hit to that body, his elbows start coming down. He starts hovering over, and he starts being susceptible to get hit up top. And I mean, that's just not the Gennady Golovkin, man, that we're used to seeing. I don't know, man. I think this was Gennady's one of his toughest opponents, for the simple fact that, again, he was younger, he was quicker, he had a better game plan, and he would not stop coming forward, and he was backing Golovkin up on several occasions. Now, on the contrary, when Golovkin was backing up Derevchenko, that's when he saw success. He was having success. When he had him against the ropes, he was sneaking in punches down the middle, down the pipe. He rocked Derevchenko a couple of times, but I mean, to me, it was as if Derevchenko would be the guy started off as the aggressor in the beginning of the rounds, and Gennady Golovkin was always trying to climb back to win the second half of each round, whether it be the last 30 seconds to 45 seconds. But I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward. Does DAZN give the rematch to Gennady Golovkin? Do they pursue a Demetrius Andrade unification fight? Or do they try to attempt to make another fight with Canelo Alvarez? Again, it's your boy Jimmy Blue, Mr. All Access Elite Boxing. Give us your thought, fight fans. Put a comment down below. Again, it's your boy Jimmy Blue, Mr. All Access Elite Boxing, signing off.